peeps, welcome back to Cindy Tunes. Happy New Year, and we'll just get right into the video. So Encanto was filmed approximately two months ago. And with the film's release, there was also the birth of a new fandom, the Encanto fandom. Now, just like any other fandom, there are fans in this fan base who like drawing fan art, fan fiction, and, drumroll, headcanons. So I'll just read out what a headcanon is, the definition. So a headcanon is a sub-branch of fanon. When someone invents a piece of fanon they already believe in, it may not be accepted as a general part of the fandom, but it still stays tucked away inside its creator's brain. It thus becomes their personal headcanon. And I've seen these Encanto headcanons, which I'll be mentioning in this video, around Instagram and other social media, and I have a lot to say about them. So going to the first one, the headcanon of Isabella being lesbian. Guys, just because she was forced into a literal arranged marriage to a guy she didn't know, she had no feelings for, does not mean she is not into guys. Honestly, this for me is quite a bit of a stretch. She can just simply not like him. Mariano, in fact, is quite annoying and very pushy, in my personal opinion. And while she didn't want to marry him, it doesn't mean that she's attracted to the complete opposite gender. And it's actually a common theme with other female characters in other films who don't end up with men by the end. And because of this, the whole fanbase automatically assumes that they're lesbian. I mean, can they just not want to be in a relationship in that point in time? Isabella, she had just discovered her actual personality without being put under pressure in her family and fitting in that perfect mold her grandma had made for her. Since discovering that, she should have time to learn about herself instead of getting into whichever romantic relationship, whether it be with someone of her own gender or the opposite. The next one is Louisa being a trans woman. That ruins the entire purpose of her character. Why else would Disney make her a female, not a guy, since in pieces of media, the person who's usually seen as the strong and buff one is usually a male. And Disney intentionally used this and presented Louisa to break the stereotype of that only men are the buff ones and are the strong ones. Women can also be buff and tough. Wow, so poetic. If she were trans, making her biologically male totally scraps the idea of biological women being able to be strong. Camilo being gender fluid. I doubt that him experimenting with gender was what Disney meant when they said that Camilo was still discovering who he was. Can't that just mean that he's still discovering his role in the family and who he is as a person? Experimenting in your teens isn't just about gender and sexuality. You can also be experimenting with other things, like the hurricanes of emotions you go through because, oh, damn hormones. And also developing your own values. Discovering his place in the family is also another part. A lot of the times, he has to step into the role of being an adult when the situation calls for it. And his shape-shifting calls for him to fit into roles that are not usually asked typically from people his age. Because of his shape-shifting skills, he's usually asked to be these different types of people, and he has to fit into these molds that other people put out for him. Because of this, he doesn't know who he is as an individual, since he's constantly caring for other people. If you ask me, that's what Disney meant by, oh, he's still discovering who he is. This next one is Dolores, my queen, having tics. She makes weird sounds, we all know that. But, let's face it, everyone makes these sounds. I make these sounds, and I'm pretty sure I don't have tics. And it doesn't mean that she's neurodivergent either. Her tics usually aren't out of place anyway. and are usually made in an appropriate moment. She is the family's gossiper, and it's not weird for people like that to outwardly express their reactions in the form of sound. So for her squeak whenever she's in shock. This other one is Bruno having tics. Bruno throughout the film is seen throwing salt and tapping on wood and muttering to himself. But all of this aren't just tics, they all serve a purpose. Bruno is shown to be very superstitious. It is very common in a lot of countries, including Colombia, to throw salt, for example. He throws salt at Mirabel since in the vision, he believes her to be cursed. Tapping on wood is also done a lot to ward off bad luck. And in the scene where he and Mirabel are in the walls, he's heard muttering something. But what he says makes total sense in that moment. He says, "Sana sana colita de rana." Just listen to this.
Sana sana colita de rana.
While people who don't speak Spanish may not understand, growing up in a Hispanic family, my mom would say this all the time when I got hurt. It's an expression for when someone is in pain, and people would say this as if like, "Oh, go away pain, go away quickly." The literal translation is health, health, small tail of a frog. It doesn't make sense, but trust me, it means go away pain. I didn't notice it at first actually when I first saw the film, but when it was pointed out, I was mind blown and I was so glad for it to be referenced. But when people were starting to turn it into a form of tic, it just, I don't know, rubbed me the wrong way. He was just saying it to the casita since it was the one in pain. Mirabel being bisexual. You shouldn't label someone as bi because of a small design on their clothes. Seriously. I probably go out in the colors of different pride flags all the time and I don't notice. Your sexuality shouldn't be picked up because of the colors you're wearing, especially a design this small. Look at it. While it might align with the story of her not fitting in with the family, heck, all of these headcanons are giving these family members mental disorders and making everyone a part of the LGBTQ+ community. She'll fit in perfectly. But, to be fair, her not fitting in with this family is not the focus of the story anyway, but rather a piece of it. The overall puzzle is about gifted and non-gifted children and the expectations around them. Expectations forced onto them, whether it be by the family or other people around them, whether it be their peers or their teachers, can negatively impact their self-esteem. What is perceived by society to be a gifted child would have so much expected from them, and they would be under loads of pressure, while a non-gifted child would be looked down upon, and they would feel useless. Is the whole point of the story not Mirabel not fitting in? And a part of her not fitting in, she also is bi. These headcanons can cause the fan base to miss the entire point of the film. I have nothing against headcanons. They're called headcanons and not canon for a reason. But the fact that the Encanto fanbase is forcing it onto other fans and it's about serious topics is concerning. I have nothing against these topics, and I know why people would come up with these headcanons, and it is to make these characters more relatable or represent something that is meaningful to someone. But on the other hand, you shouldn't be forcing these ideas onto a piece of media that is amazing for its whole reason of its own. Yes, representation is nice, but the representation of Latino culture was the focus here, not the representation of the LGBTQ+ or disability or neurodivergency. When these ideas overpower the overall message of this movie, things can get lost in the way. You can't explore too many ideas in an hour-long movie. So instead of people wanting to squish it all in, we should just appreciate Encanto for what it is and its representation of the Colombian culture. I'm sure that there will be lots of opportunities to explore these themes as the main focus in other films where it's more suited. As a Latina growing up in a Hispanic family, I related so much to this film. The message moved me, and I know I wasn't the only one who appreciated it. People who aren't Hispanic can still relate to the film without adding on to it. While Encanto has its flaws, it alone can still be appreciated for what it is. While the themes of the LGBTQ+ and disabilities are incredibly important, I myself belonging into one of these groups, I can say that it's not necessary to add these themes into this film. These topics can be explored in other pieces of media, which would be more meaningful, and I don't deny it'll be nice to see in the future. So we'll just have to be patient. So, just stay calm, you crazy fans. Now, everything I said in this video was just my opinion. I would like to hear yours in the comments. Don't take anything what I said too seriously. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not an expert. I was just putting what I thought out there, and I didn't mean to offend anybody. But if you made it this far into the video and you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe. If you want to see the end product of this picture, you can go follow my Instagram, which will be in the description below. I hope you have a startastic day, and I hope to see you soon in the future. Bye!